We're live.
We're live
YouTube.
on
This is
YouTube.
Vincent for the second.
This is Vincent for the
show
second
here from Colorado.
show here from Colorado,
The Rising Artist
part of
Mentorship
the
Program,
Rising
where I
Artist
work
Mentorship Program, where I work with
musicians in
youth
Colorado
musicians
and
in
internationally as
Colorado
well.
and internationally
Also
as well.
reaching out to
Really interesting adults who are doing some great collaborations internationally, especially when it comes to
the live stream world.
the live stream world.
This is on YouTube.
This is a pretty unique
platform
here called
Lightstream.
Lightstream.
They do have a website. Go
Lightstream.com. This is a free application, and there are different scenes
that I lined up previous
to
This is
going
scene
live.
one.
This is scene one.
like a movie producer here.
Like a movie producer here.
You're welcome to
You're welcome
if
to
you're watching from my
watch.
YouTube page,
If you're
you
watching
can make
from my
comments
YouTube page,
in the
you can
stream
make
chat,
comments
and I have a
in the
very
stream
special
chat.
guest today,
And
David
I have a very
Burrows, will
special
bring
guest today,
online
David Burrows, who will bring
in just
online
a moment here.
in just a moment
switch
here.
over
Switch over
to scene
to
number two. So
scene number
just to
two.
kind of give you an idea as I
Just to kind of give you an idea as I walk through.
we're updating the stream here.
We're updating the
Here's
stream
David
here.
Burrows, a picture of David.
Here's David Burrows, a picture of David.
David is a prominent
MC speaker out in Sarnia, Ontario, in Canada.
29 years, David has been
And for
involved
29 years,
as an
David has been
entertainer
involved
in his
as an
community.
entertainer in his community.
23 years,
For 23 years, a full-time karaoke host and mobile DJ. David has joined the internet broadcasting world
doing some really great
and
things.
is doing some really great things.
So we are really pleased
to
bring on David Burrows.
bring on David Burrows.
We're going to bring him on right now.
Update. Okay, let's see.
Let's try that again.
Okay, let's see. Let's try that again. All right.
We're going to try this again here.
We're going to try this again.
This is a wonderful technology that
This
we're
is a
doing
wonderful
here. As you know,
technology that
it's,
we're doing here. As you know, it's
pretty incredible the ability
the ability
to do what we're doing here today.
To do what we're
There
doing
we
here
go.
today.
Came through. Hey,
There
David.
we go. Came through. Hey, David.
How are you? Vincent, nice to see you again.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
We've gotten to know each other a little bit here over the internet world.
And you're really doing some great things.
And
you were nice enough to have me on your show.
You were nice enough to have me on your show. And
had
one
one of the artists that I'm working with as well.
One of the artists that I'm working with
Emma
as
Marie.
well. On Emma
Got
Marie.
to know her a little bit.
Got to know her a little bit.
Happy 150th
And happy
anniversary.
150th anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, first of all, it's nice to be talking with you again. You know, we connected there a while back, and we were talking lots, and then you know, life gets busy. I went on a honeymoon, that sort of thing, and so it's nice to be back talking to you again. I have kept watching, so even though you don't talk to people every day, you can still stay in touch with them without them even really knowing. But thanks so much for having me on your show. It's nice to see you doing some more broadcasting.
Thank you, and welcome back from your vacation.
Your honeymoon. Congratulations, you took down in the Mayan Riviera.
I've been there. There's no place like in the world.
I've been there. There's no place like in the world. Safe to say. Pretty incredible.
Really great. We have a lot to talk about. You know,
really great. We have a lot to talk about. You know, it's funny because
to the U.S. and Sarnia.
You live really close to the U.S. and Sarnia.
There's quite a bit of, I think, just.
But there's quite a bit of, I
speaking
think,
for
just.
myself, I don't know a whole lot.
Speaking
about
for
Canada.
myself, I don't know a whole lot about Canada. I think I've started to get to know a little bit about Ontario through connecting with you.
I mean, you all breathe, eat, walk.
I mean, you all breathe, eat, walk. You breathe air. You drink water. You go about your lives and so forth.
Tell us a little bit about life in Canada.
Tell us a little bit about life in Canada.
Well, it's always interesting. I mean, we're always labeled as the cold country, right? You know, the Great White North, if you will. But yeah, I can actually go out my front door and drive to what we call the Blue Water Bridge, or the Blue Water Bridges. We have two of them now. And be to that bridge in about 3 minutes, and then depending how busy the traffic is, be over in the United States in another 5. So in 10 minutes on a clear day, crossing the Blue Water Bridge to go to Port Huron, Michigan, which is the thumb of Michigan. It's a nice convenience, actually, to be able to go to the States, financially wise. I'm a firm believer in shopping local, but I also like to say shop local as much as you can afford to. So the dollar advantage at times is convenient. And I have some friends over there as well, so it's nice to do that. So I'm right in southwestern Ontario. Sarnia is the name of the city in Lambton County, Sarnia, Lambton County. And I've lived here all my life. I'm 48 years old. I never left. I went away one summer, but I was 24, and yeah, it was for a summer. It was a nice summer, but I never really left. So. Everything I've done, from the DJing, the karaoke, everything I do has all been done and based right here in Sarnia, Ontario. We're about 73,000 people here, and a very friendly community. And right here in Sarnia, Lambton is a very, very, very caring, very giving, very come together in time of need community. So I'm proud to live here. I know some people have left for different reasons, for jobs and whatnot, but they also seem to come back. And I'm just happy to be one of the ones that said, I'm never leaving Sarnia. If you see our waters, we're right on St. Clair River and Lake Huron. And my good friend David Newell, who's an investor here in town, will call it the Southwestern Ontario Riviera. So we have beautiful parks here. We have over 100 parks in our city, and all the water is beautiful and clean. And we have music festivals and beer festivals, and we got lots of festivals. And there's my favorite phrase I've quoted often is saying is, there's no lack of anything to do in Sarnia, Lambton, ever.
That's an astonishing number of parks. That's an astonishing number of parks. 100 parks per population of 73,000.
Now, mind you, there's some of them are like incredible. This big, but they're just out throughout neighborhoods, right? But yeah, we have over 100 parks in our city. Mm-hmm. It's really, it's incredible.
If you want to take a jaunt for a little further drive, you can go to Toronto. You can go east to Toronto.
Yeah, well, and that's about 3 hours away from where I'm at. 3.5 or 4, depending on traffic that day or what time you leave to go there. I don't get down there a lot, quite honestly. We're about 45 minutes from London, Ontario, which is a large city, and then we've got Goderich, and we've got a lot of really neat cities around us. If you go the other way, we go down to Windsor, which is again right on the border of the United States. So we're surrounded by a lot of great things, a lot of entertainment, a lot of theater, a lot of culture. We got a lot of wineries around us, like down Windsor Way, and then even towards going Toronto Way and Barrie and all that stuff. There's wineries in Niagara Falls, and Sarnia is a great place to be.
That's really cool. Now, so going back, like you started out doing karaoke as a karaoke host for quite some time, and that seems like that would really be a fun thing to do, to kind of be out entertaining. You sing as well.
Yeah, actually, I was just hanging out with one of my friends from the Duke d'Orleans, it's called. I'll take it back just a little bit further if I can, Vincent. So I was actually a DJ before karaoke. And I was on another show earlier today, and I was asked a question, about what am I going to do? And I remember sitting on a toy tractor when I was 5 years old with my mom. My parents had a swimming pool business, and my dad was working, and my mom looked over to me and said, "So, son, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Well, fair question that parents often ask their children. And I said, and not verbatim, but in a 5-year-old language, said, I want to be a disc jockey, and I want to own my own business. So here I am 48 years later, and I'm in the entertainment world. I didn't always call it DJing or karaoke. I like to call it the entertainment world, because I was a karaoke host and I was a disc jockey, but I did a lot of different things at once, kind of like what I do now. I still do karaoke. I do it once a week though. And then I do my annual cruise on the Duke d'Orleans there. It's a cruise. It's a 3-hour tour up and down the beautiful St. Clair River. So we actually go down and we see the American side. We come back and see the Canadian side. Beautiful homes and property to see along there. And it holds about 180 people on the boat. So I think coming up on 29 years, even before I did karaoke, I used to rent the boat out and just hire a band and have a party. So I think I'm coming up on 29 years of using that Duke d'Orleans. This is actually the Duke d'Orleans 2. When I started, there was another boat. Originally, it was Duke d'Orleans. It was originally I think it was a decoy boat in the war. It actually had a gunner on it originally, that one, and so there's that's a whole other show. But so now I do karaoke once a week at our local pool hall every Sunday afternoon from 3 to 7. It's an older crowd. It's a fun crowd. But yeah, I did karaoke 5 nights a week in bars for a long time, and then I DJ'd a wedding or event or whatever every Saturday, and I was working 6 days a week. So I met a lot of cool people, met some not so cool people, but I met some celebrities over time and stuff. It's been a really good time.
It's interesting. It says the age on this is 19 plus. Is the drinking age 19 up in Canada?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah.
It is. Interesting.
Yeah, has been for a long. It used to be 21. Pardon me. I think back in the 70s, and then they changed it to 19, and they haven't gone back since. Which is interesting because right on the border it's 21 in at least in Michigan.
Mm-hmm. In the States, right?
So a lot of times the young folks from Michigan come over to Canada to party, right? So
it's a pretty mellow town on the other side of Detroit that you have there in Canada. There was some documentary I remember seeing, and they went from Detroit, which is obviously, there's some intense things happening in Detroit, obviously. Yeah. And then across the border was this mellow little town. It was such a disparity, such a difference between the feel of the two towns. I thought was pretty interesting.
You mean, you're referring to Sarnia, you mean?
No, what was the name? Let me bring up this map here. It was, would it have been Windsor, perhaps?
Oh, could have been. I don't know. I don't know that I'd call Windsor mellow.
Well, actually, so you're right on the other side of Flint.
Yeah.
Or no, Flint's further inland.
No, we're right on Port Huron.
Okay. This map that I'm seeing doesn't have all of that.
Port Huron's right when you come off the Blue Water Bridge into the United States here in Port Huron. And then, yeah, there's I don't know, Jennifer usually does all the driving, but we're not far from, we're probably 45 minutes from Flint.
Mm-hmm. So we're here with David Burrows, who lives in Sarnia, Ontario, and speaking to him from Colorado here. This is Vincent with the RAM program. And it's been great making the connection there in Canada. And it's kind of, I've sort of extended my reach a little bit, connecting with a couple of organizations in Canada. So for me, it's really been interesting to kind of tap into some of the folks such as yourself that are in that part of the world. And you found, David, that you're really able to tap into other parts of the world as well through the workings that you've done with your show. Certainly, let me bring this up here. Well, we had this up earlier, the TVSN. You branched into that, and you're in the internet broadcasting world now. You're in the internet broadcasting world now. There seems like you've got this palette able to tap there where you're able to tap into a lot of different community activities, community organizations, doing emceeing, doing hockey and broadcasting of the hockey and stuff like that. You've really found that the technology is really well suited to your passions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, technology is a wonderful thing when it works, which thankfully most of the time it does.
Most of the time it does.
Yeah, you know, I've always just been versatile in a lot of different things. I've always been a fast learner too. I'm self-taught when it comes to broadcasting. I mean, as far as the technical side of things, you know, as far as the media world goes, like I've been involved with my local radio station for a few years. They've actually been really great enough in supporting what I do by letting me go on one of their local radio stations, CHOK, which is a community radio station. Well, I shouldn't call it community. They do a lot of more community-oriented things. There's 3 radio stations here in town: K106.3, Great Classics and the Best New Rock, and then today's best music and hits is 99.9, the Fox FM, and then CHOK, which is sports, news, and community-oriented, all owned by Blackburn Radio. And I've been really grateful to all of them for, used to go on K106.3, because when I first started my weekly show, I was interviewing musicians from all around the world and then did a community segment. And then as time progressed, I changed things, and now it's just strictly about entertainment, and community in Sarnia Lambton. So we switched over to CHOK. I do a little voiceover every week for about a minute and a half to talk about what's on my show this week, and they play it on the radio every week. So, and I work there part-time as a producer. Well, a producer. They call us a producer. I'm a board operator. I'm the guy that pushes the buttons when the personalities are out on remote. I say, okay, 10 seconds there, and all that sort of stuff. And that's very, very part-time, but I enjoy it. And I've made a lot of great friendships through that as well. And I think, and it's I've fitted into the media world, and I'm thankful to the media world here in Sarnia for, embracing what I'm doing and supporting it. And now, like I get media releases just like a newspaper would or anything. So it's really, it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun and a great journey to this point.
And you've been acknowledged by the local chamber of commerce for marketing and promotions. Two-time nominee for marketing and promotions for the outstanding awards, business achievement awards.
Yeah, really that was cool. It was exciting. I didn't get the award, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I honestly, it sounds cliche, but just being nominated 2 years in a row for marketing and promotions, and then I was nominated last year for member of the year was just like, wow. So, it really spoke volumes to me as to what my local business community was thinking of what I was doing. So I'm pretty proud of the nominations for that, for sure.
Yeah. If folks are watching, they have any questions. For David, if you are watching from YouTube channel, any comments that you put in this live stream, I'll be able to see those. And we can engage in conversation. David Burrows in Sarnia, Canada, and the power of volunteering. The power of volunteering, David. You've really seen the full circle where the old adage, which is so true, that when you give, you get that back tenfold. So you being involved with a lot of organizations here on House Boys Home, the local Cancer Society chapter, Alzheimer's, and others in the community. That's a big deal. That's a real commitment on your part.
Yeah, it's well, I believe everybody who lives in a community should in some way give back. Some stand out more than others. Some are very quiet about it. I think just because of what I do, it naturally gets seen more. But the Huron House Boys Home is I get emotional sometimes when I talk about these things because there's just such a great need out there. But the Boys Home, young boys, under the age of 19, and they're not. They have a label as being bad kids or in trouble with the law and stuff. These are kids who some of them didn't even stand a chance from the beginning, or bad things are happening at home, their environment, or they don't have families. Like there's just so many different things. And they've been around a long time, and I was around the Boys Home when I was in public school, and I went to school with some guys that went to the Boys Home, and they always got teased because they were in the Boys Home, right? But I was able to make some friends through it and participate in some of the events that they did back then, and I still have friendships with some of the guys. I went to high school with some of them, and we've still grown up together to remain good friends. And there's a lot of mental health issues that go on there that they look after, and I'm one who's always said, and I repeat myself a lot, and people laugh at me or whatever sometimes because I repeat myself, but I just try to instill in people, I believe in the greatness that exists in every person, including the ones we don't like. And the greatest challenge in all of that is trying to find greatness in someone you don't like. I challenge everybody to find greatness in someone you don't like. But the interesting, because they're just a person, just because they pissed you off, or I'm sorry, it's the internet, but just because they pissed you off or you don't like them for a difference of opinion or whatever, even a really bad person has greatness in them somewhere. It's just that it's deeper hidden, or there's more of a struggle, or what was their environment. But it's in there. It's in there. And we just have to plant the seed and then harvest it and grow it, nurture it, and hopefully greatness comes from it. Unfortunately, not all seeds grow either. So, and we have to accept that as part of it. But I think it's our responsibility as humans to push out or help bring out the greatness in each other, because you might have greatness in you and you don't know what that greatness is, but when somebody else recognizes you for having something great or just being wonderful in some way, it helps us believe more in ourselves, right? So I believe the Boys Home is and they struggle financially a lot. I work with them for their Men Who Cook event every year, and their run, walk, skate, bike. I do announcements and help them with a lot of different things, and it's one that I'll always support. And because I fear for the future of our communities if we don't help our youth, so that's why it's important to me to be a part of the Boys Home for that reason right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really great, really well put. Really well put. You know, another way that we build community is through as you're mentioning, really giving great outlet to the youth, and even as people get into adulthood, is through sports.
Yeah.
And how great that's obviously when you think about sports in Canada, probably really first sport that comes to people's minds would be ice hockey.
Yeah.
So you get to hang out and be a part of that happening as well. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, the Ontario Hockey League, so junior hockey, the Ontario Hockey League, sorry, and so this is kind of like the next step before the NHL for these guys, right? Our Sarnia Sting actually, they had a 14 game winning streak from the start of the season.
Wow.
And now they're on a streak again. I think 5 wins in a row. They're 24 wins and 4 losses right now. So
that's tremendous.
This is an incredible year for them. Interestingly enough, as much as I'm involved with them, and I don't broadcast the games, our local Cogeco Television does a wonderful job of broadcasting the entire games. And then they have a live stream so they got our local cable company, and then they have a live stream that they send out as well that people can watch. What I do is pregame. They're about 3-minute, like, here we are today, and this is what's going on, kind of updates. And then first period intermission, I have someone come on. It's Jay Peckham, my friend Jay Peckham, and he gives a fan perspective of the first period. And then second period, I'm back again. I might have a guest on to talk about the game, and then we go live post game and interview. We get to interview the coaches and, probably the player of the game or that sort of thing. So I'm not actually broadcasting the game, but I am around it. And what's interesting is my buddies who know me really well congratulated me when that sort of came together, but they were like, how'd you pull that off? Because Burrows, they said, you don't even know how to spell sports. And it's totally true. And if they're watching, they're laughing like, aha, fooled you. But I learned a long time ago that if you want to look smart, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, and you will look great. So, you're around the game, you talk to the players, you talk to your buddies who are into sports, and, I get stats that I can read and all. I do my research. You just participate in it, right? And that's how it's gone very well. It's my 3rd year, but this is a real full-time year with it, and we're already making plans for some things for next year. So it's very exciting times right now for the Video Show Network.
I found that interviewing people and athletes certainly fit into this. It really helps them grow as being able to present how they present themselves. It's a whole nother kind of part of the brain. Certainly they're magical on the ice when they're playing the sport.
Yeah.
Put a microphone in front of them. Certainly, especially at first, it's probably just a whole new animal for them, and they have to kind of adapt and learn in that environment too, which is really important.
Yeah, it's it's how to interact with people, how to talk to people, presentation, all that stuff. And honestly, confidence, really. You know, you think these guys are out on the ice doing fantastic things. You think, oh, they have no problem talking, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes you got to pull the string to get them to move their mouth and say something. But I mean, that's something that at least I know our Sarnia Sting and the Ontario Hockey League, they coach them on that kind of thing too. They're like, okay, so this is how to answer a question and how to. I mean, they don't tell them what to say, but they coach them on that kind of stuff too. So it's all a part of being a part of the hockey team, right?
Yeah. Well, we're still in the hockey. I want to ask. So we have the Colorado Eagles.
Yep.
Here, and for that is the next step before the NHL as well.
Yeah.
We have a great Colorado Avalanche team here in the state. Do the teams from Canada ever? What is the travel perimeter? Do they ever get down in the States with the games?
We have actually. There's one team, Flint Firebirds, is part of the Ontario Hockey League. So we do go over there throughout the year as well, and they come over here for some home games as well.
Well, even though they're in the U.S., they're part of the Ontario Hockey League. Yeah,
I've never. Don't ask me any more about that because I'm not sure how that works, honestly.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I'm still learning that part of it. But, yeah.
Geographically, they're so close that does make sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably the reason. But I'm not sure how that worked. But and they're a bit of a rival with us. I mean, we have the London Knights that are about 45 minutes away from us. There's a huge rival there. But the Flint Firebirds and Sarnia Sting always seem to have this. And they've been beating us the last couple of times, so it's always interesting to watch between the Firebirds and the Sarnia Sting.
We're having a great time here with David Burrows in Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the live streaming world.
Yeah,
it's something that's pretty new to me. You've been involved in it for quite a bit longer than I have. Really, quality live streaming hasn't been around for all that long. I remember, going back 3 to 4 years, I really wanted to live stream.
Yep.
And maybe the channels weren't there that I was aware of, but certainly I don't think, using Lightstream as we're doing today, which I'm quite fond of this, where people that are watching, seeing the different screens switch and so forth. I set up all these scenes ahead of time of the show. I could actually move. David, you're well aware of this, of course. I could take where our videos are on the screen. I can move them around. I could resize them. I could even bring a little bit of video if I wanted to. So there's quite a. You can be artistic with this, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to bring up Stephen Healy because he was kind of my first main contact in the live streaming world. Nice picture of him about 20 miles from where he lives. Everybody will recognize Stonehenge there.
Yep.
And then up top, I was really thrilled to be a part of actually a talk with Stu Grubbs, who's in this picture here along with Stephen. And we had a nice conversation with Stu being CEO of Lightstream.
Yeah.
So it's quite remarkable. You and Stephen go back a little ways and have literally a pretty strong connection.
Yeah, and actually, Stephen and I don't even know if we've known each other a year.
Oh, it's been okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
It was longer than that.
It seems like years. I say that because he might be watching. But Stephen and I, similar worlds. The live streaming world. We're both fairly well known in that world, and we've had a great connection from the start. And we actually do our own. Stephen is like master streamer. He does like 20,000 shows a week.
Yeah.
I don't know. He does 6 or 7 anyway. But him and I do a show every Monday, 12 o'clock Eastern, hosted on the Video Show Network as part of the Be Live and 5 group. And we just talk about live streaming, what it does and what it's about, and some technical stuff. But it's a fantastic tool because I'm sure you'll agree already that you and I have met, and I've met some people that and you've met some people that I know, and you've been able to connect with them through me, and vice versa. And it's just, I say that the Earth is just one big city now. It's not a planet. It's just one big city. There are no borders. The only borders are right here, and it's I was live streaming, like I say, 6 years. It's been 6 years professionally, right? But I've been live streaming prior to that. I actually was looking at, am I going to do an internet radio show or am I going to do a video show? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I wish I'd have picked a radio show because editing's much easier. But I'm glad I went this direction because it's many different reasons. But it's I've been waiting for tools to come along. I always had it up in my brain. Geez, why can't I do this? And I want to do that. Why can't I bring people on screen? And blah, blah, blah. And I had the plan. I didn't have the know-how, right? So when things like, there's different platforms out there, but when things like Lightstream come along, there's still some technical stuff in there, and you kind of got to know what you're doing. You need to play around with it. But it's WYSIWYG pretty much, right? What you see is what you get. And it makes it for people like yourself who maybe aren't as technically inclined to go, hey, I can do this. And it's not just guys like me who have other ways of broadcasting too that are more technical, right? So, and it's an opportunity for us to all just share. Keyword share, just share. Mm-hmm. There's so much that we can accomplish by just sharing ourselves and being proud of who we are and learning, and like, let's just, anyway, I'm getting off topic. I get passionate. You have to shut me up.
No, I don't think you're off topic at all. I think that
let's just get over ourselves. And let's just, I love Christmas, right? There's a lot of Scrooges. Christmas, it's so commercial. It's commercial, but it's only commercial if you keep buying into it. I mean, don't get me wrong. We get a Christmas tree and we buy presents, but we don't go crazy overboard. But there's one thing that I love about Christmas. My favorite thing about Christmas. It's the one time of year that you can be nice to people and they won't wonder why you're being nice to them. Right?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Oh, why is he being nice? What's he want?
Right.
But when it's Christmas time and I'm being nice, they're like, oh, he's just Christmas. He's being nice. Right. So why can't we just have the Christmas mentality all year long?
All year long. Absolutely. It's a great way to put it. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Well, you have a great way of connecting with people, and you have a great positive attitude, outlook, and in your case, it certainly goes way beyond the theory. You put it into practice, because there is definitely a certain amount of effort that it takes to really put yourself out there and to connect to people. You do have to just put that all aside and say, I'm just going to do my thing. And we live in a world of many easy critics, especially online. YouTube, what a perfect example. People can...
Let me tell you.
I've worked with some pretty talented musicians, and people can very easily leave comments that are not so nice without putting any thought or heart into it. So kudos.
Well, and what's the purpose, right?
Right. It's mindless, basically. Yeah. So you're really doing a great job with all of your efforts, and then
thank you.
You're welcome, and then doing events as well where you can bring live streaming into the world. If somebody's having a wedding or seminar, music, all of those things, they want it live streamed. I think that there's probably a pretty good percentage of the populace that's not aware how much capability has really evolved over the last couple of years. So people like you and myself and Stephen Healy and others are really, I think, wanting to get people to step just a little bit out of their comfort zone and to take that step, because everybody's got a story, David.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great opportunity to, I think people, and it's a common discussion. Stephen and I talked about it the other day with Robert Stern and Peter Stewart, friends of ours in the live streaming world. And Robert Stern's the social leader. He goes by, if I can put the plug out there, go to thesocialleader.us to learn more about him. But the fear, if this thing is so great, why aren't more people broadcasting? There's a lot of people watching, but they're fear, right? I mean, they're afraid of getting in front of the camera for fear of what am I going to look like? Or fear of saying the wrong thing, or fear of not saying anything, or fear of what if something goes wrong. Like we just have this thing that we just want to think everything is going to go wrong, right? I mean, you're a good example yourself, right? I mean, when I first talked to you, you were, and I know, and you had done some radio stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But the camera stuff was new to you, so you were like, ugh, you were scared, right? I remember having those conversations.
Yeah, it was pretty intense at first. I had done some pre-recorded video, but live is completely different.
Live is completely, you're right. And you know what? My Wednesday show is a pre-recorded, edited together show. And I've considered more and more doing more live with it, because when you're live, I prefer live over recorded. When you're live, we just laugh and we just keep going. And nobody actually cares. Right. Except yourself, right? So right. I just think here we are, we're live, and oh boy, right? And something will go wrong, but you just, well.
When you learn more that way, it's sort of like a musician. Absolutely. Being up on stage, that's a live performance as well, as opposed to, being in their practice room and so forth.
Well,
things come up.
I'm sure Pink Floyd, when they hit a wrong note, never said, whoa, wait a minute, whoa. Start over. Stop. I don't think that ever happened, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a great opportunity for people to share their story. I encourage everyone who's watching, and I do it all the time, to say, if you've got a story to tell, share with the world. Just pick up your phone and just press the live button. And don't worry about any of this pretty graphics or special microphones like that. Use your phone, start there, and just do it. But if you want to do it on Facebook privately, create a private page that nobody can see, but just do it there and then watch yourself. Or, I mean, I used to stand in front of a mirror when I was a kid with a hairbrush, right? Watching ourselves sing. That was karaoke back then.
Yeah. And if you do want to get into the graphics and the nice microphones, you can do that too, and really make it into an art form of sorts. So it's kind of can suit whatever people are looking for. And this Lightstream, which I'm quite taken with at this point, is
that's a fantastic platform.
It's actually free. Just kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's a free application. Go lightstream.com. You can set up an account, and these go straight to your YouTube channel. And then that great term that I learned from repurposing, which is a great term to repurpose your videos, where you can then have it on your YouTube channel. You can put the link to it on Facebook and your other social media. So a lot that we can do with that. So this has been a great talk. We've been talking with David Burrows in Sarnia, Ontario, and this will go onto my Facebook, my YouTube page. It'll stay there, which is really great, so people can check it out there. Final thoughts, David?
Oh, I never have final thoughts. No, I mean, I just, I live my passion every day, right? When I was DJing and karaoke, and I was living my passion. And, I talked about this earlier today, why aren't you living your passion? I put that question to anybody watching. Why are you not living your passion? Or even better, are you living your passion? And if you're not, why are you not? And usually the number one reason why people are not living their passion is money. Money and fear. Okay, money, it's who said that? Zig Ziglar said, money's like oxygen. Or money, how does that go? Money isn't everything, but it's up there with oxygen. Kind of need it to live. And I get that, right? You got to pay your rent and you got to stuff. But don't let that consume you to the point where it prevents you from doing the things you want to do. You can work part-time at your fortune and full-time at your job. And that's Jim Rohn, by the way. And what that means is, you go get a job, and you might hate that job, but don't just go work at that job you hate, or don't just do it because it's a good paycheck. Find your passion and work at that part-time, and then build it. People want this overnight success. They want to, I want $1 million in, so I want to work 10 hours a week and make $10,000 a month. Give your head a shake, right? Like, let's be realistic about it as well. And often your passion to other people, sometimes they'll look at you and go, "Are you crazy?" Yeah, well, I'm really glad Thomas Edison didn't listen to anybody.
Right. Because
now we have a light bulb, right? I'm really glad, heart transplant, all that stuff. And I worry all the time. Well, I don't worry, but I wonder often how many things have not been created or invented because somebody was afraid to pursue and follow their passion, which turns into your dream, right? Is it easy? Absolutely not. You're going to work at it. You're going to fall. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to have people telling you you're stupid, and just stay away from those people. Surround yourself with the right people.
That's a big part of it right there, is surrounding yourself with people that will support your efforts. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah. I said it even earlier when I was working in the bar business. Like, I was having a great time. I was having a lot of fun. I was successful. I was getting paid well for it. But I was in a bar 5 nights a week. So what do you think I was doing every day? Right? And that became a bad environment for me. Don't get me wrong. I still like to have a beer and have fun. But I just don't do it 5-6 days a week now. Right? Because we all know where that goes. So, I mean, you have to follow your passion, but you have to follow it in the right environment as well. You can't just, and sometimes we do get people who go, "Wow, that's great. You're cool. And this is fun. I love what you're doing." And da-da-da-da. And we get sucked into that, not realizing that that's great, but this isn't the right environment. I need to be, and that's where I am now, as I've shifted gears, years ago and doing this, and I created this business and my full studio, and I have my pajamas on, and having a lot of fun. Have fun with what you do, fundamentals, and just share, and don't be afraid. And that's probably the biggest thing, unfortunately, is fear for people. And just, it's okay to fail too. Like, fail your way to your success. First time you rode a bike, I guarantee you fell down. So did you just say, "Screw this, I'm never riding a bike"? No. So keep riding the bike and pushing the pedals, and just keep going. And I welcome anybody to connect with me personally, Vincent. I love meeting new people. So a personal timeline, David Burrows in Sarnia, Ontario. I welcome people to say hello.
Yeah. It's been great chatting with you.
My pleasure. And I was thrilled that we were finally able to connect and do this. I know we've been trying for some time, and schedules don't always cooperate, but I was glad to finally be able to get the time to be here. And I'm glad to see what you're doing as well.
Appreciate that. You brought up a really good point when we first started, where even though, for example, it had been a while since we last connected, we've been able to follow and see the workings of each other and what the other people in the live streaming community are doing. And it's like those threads remain. They're always strong. It's just a matter of, when the time is right. And that's what's really cool about it, is we don't have to feel stressed about, "Oh, well, it's been, what are they doing? I don't know what they're doing." We can still have that connection ongoing. So I'm going to keep you on for a moment after we end here to wrap up with you personally. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and you can certainly share this link with people as we continue to work the live stream world. This has been Vincent with the RAMP program. I want to thank David Burrows very much for being with us. And your website, one more time, give out to folks your website.
tvsn.ca, so Tanger Victor Sam Nancy.ca, and the Video Show Network on Facebook.
That sounds great. Everybody, thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks, Vincent.
Appreciate it.